Backstage at Ireland's Got Talent 2025, the air buzzed with excitement and nerves, but Miguel, a shy Filipino boy from Cebu City, stood quietly in the corner. His clothes were simple and worn, his sneakers scuffed from years of walking long streets to help his parents make ends meet. He had come to Ireland with his family in search of a better life, but every day was still a struggle. Now, under the bright stage lights and the towering cameras, he felt smaller than ever. Miguel clutched a small notebook with the lyrics of the Elvis song he had practiced for months. His hands trembled. Around him, other contestants chatted and laughed, flaunting confidence he didn't feel. He whispered to himself, "This is for my parents, for everything they sacrificed." The camera zoomed in on his eyes, wide, anxious, but glimmering with hope. A stage assistant gently called his name. His heartbeat quickened. As he walked toward the stage, he noticed the glimmering set, the massive audience, and the judges seated with their arms crossed and polite smiles. Miguel lowered his gaze, keeping his shoulders hunched, trying to make himself invisible. The audience's applause was warm but uncertain. Many expected nothing more than a timid boy with a quiet voice. Behind him, the other contestants whispered, some in disbelief, some in pity. He remembered the streets of Cebu, the long hours selling snacks, and the nights he sang softly under dim streetlights, dreaming that one day someone would truly hear him. Miguel closed his eyes for a brief moment, took a deep breath, and whispered again, "I can do this." As the announcer introduced him to the crowd, Miguel's small figure stepped onto the stage. The bright lights momentarily blinded him, but he felt a strange courage rise within him. For a poor boy from Cebu City, this moment in Ireland wasn't just about singing. It was about being seen, being heard, and daring to dream. The announcer's voice echoed through the vast auditorium of Ireland's Got Talent 2025. Next up, a young talent all the way from Cebu City, Philippines, Miguel. The audience clapped politely, but there was a subtle undercurrent of curiosity and doubt. Miguel's legs felt like lead as he took the first step onto the stage. His worn sneakers scuffed against the polished floor, each step louder than he expected. Miguel kept his head down, his eyes scanning the floor instead of the crowd. The bright stage lights made him squint, and he could feel the gaze of the judges like beams of heat. He swallowed hard. One judge leaned forward, tilting their head with polite interest, while another's raised eyebrow gave him an uncomfortable awareness of their skepticism. The camera zoomed in on his trembling hands, the thin notebook clutched tightly against his chest. When asked to introduce himself, Miguel's voice was soft, almost breaking. "My name is Miguel, I'm from Cebu City, I just want to make my family proud." His accent carried the weight of homesickness, struggle, and hope all at once. The audience murmured softly, some sympathetic, some unsure. For a moment, the stage felt impossibly large, and Miguel wondered if he could actually do it. He took a deep breath, recalling nights singing softly under the dim streetlights of Cebu while his parents worked tirelessly. That memory gave him courage. He raised his head slightly, letting the first note of his voice escape, a tentative, quivering sound, fragile yet determined. The judges exchanged glances, surprised by the purity of his tone. One judge's eyes softened, while another leaned back, caught off guard by the boy's earnestness. Miguel's nervous steps onto the stage had turned into something more, an unspoken promise that this shy boy from Cebu City might just be about to change the room forever. The music swelled through the auditorium, and Miguel's fingers tightened around his small notebook. The first few seconds were silence, except for his own shaky breath. Then, almost timidly, he opened his mouth and sang. The voice that emerged was nothing like the nervous boy who had walked on stage. It was rich, deep, and unexpectedly powerful, carrying every ounce of hope, struggle, and emotion he had ever felt. The audience froze. Conversations stopped. Some mouths hung open in disbelief. The judges leaned forward, eyes wide, faces caught between shock and admiration. One judge's hand flew to their mouth, barely containing a gasp, while another slowly removed their glasses to stare harder, trying to comprehend the depth of the voice before them. The once polite applause was gone, replaced by a stunned, almost sacred silence. Miguel's voice filled the room with the haunting emotion of the classic Elvis song. Each note was deliberate, each word carried the weight of a lifetime of sacrifices, from the crowded streets of Cebu to the chilly mornings in Ireland. His heart pounded in his chest, yet his voice did not falter. He sang not for fame, not for applause, but for the small family he left sleeping back home and the dream he had carried in his heart for years. The judges' reactions were immediate and visceral. Cheers formed in the eyes of one, a hand clutching their chest as if feeling Miguel's own heartbeat. Another jaw slowly dropped, eyes shimmering, completely frozen by the unexpected brilliance. The audience was silent, rapt, some holding back tears, others leaning forward, as if drawn closer by the magic of his voice. In that moment, Miguel was no longer the shy boy from Cebu. He was a force, a story, a voice that could silence an entire room, leaving everyone, including the judges, utterly captivated. Miguel's voice reached the chorus, stronger now, trembling only with raw emotion. The simple, worn boy from Cebu City had transformed into a vessel of story, pain, and hope. Each note seemed to carry not just the lyrics of the Elvis song, but years of struggle, late nights, and quiet determination. The auditorium was so silent it felt like the walls themselves were holding their breath. A judge slowly raised a hand to their face, fingertips brushing away a tear that had escaped despite their attempt at composure. Another judge, unable to look away, clasped both hands over their heart, feeling every word Miguel sang as though it were their own story. The camera panned across the audience. Parents holding children tightly, teenagers with wide eyes, even crew members frozen mid-step, caught by the purity and honesty of his performance. Miguel's voice wavered slightly, carrying the ache of homesickness, the weight of poverty, and the longing to make his parents proud. He didn't falter. He poured everything into that stage, into that single moment. The judges' faces softened with awe and empathy. One's lips trembled, the other's eyes glistened with tears. Some whispered quietly to themselves, while others simply stared, speechless. When Miguel hit the final note, the room remained suspended in silence. No one dared move, speak, or even breathe for a heartbeat. Then, as if released from a spell, the audience erupted into applause and cheers. One judge stood, clapping slowly at first, then with increasing intensity, wiping away tears. Another judge embraced their co-judge, both crying openly. Miguel, overwhelmed, bowed slightly, tears rolling down his cheeks. For a brief, perfect moment, the stage had become sacred. A shy boy from Cebu City, standing in Ireland, had touched hearts, silenced doubts, and proven that true talent, and true courage, needs no words. The final note lingered in the auditorium like a whisper that refused to fade. Miguel, the shy boy from Cebu City, stood frozen on the Ireland's Got Talent stage, chest rising and falling rapidly, tears streaking down his face. The audience sat in stunned silence for a heartbeat, absorbing the gravity of what they had just witnessed. Then, slowly, the applause began, soft at first, then swelling into a thunderous ovation that filled the entire arena. The judges rose to their feet, tears glistening in their eyes. One judge, voice breaking, said, "We didn't just hear a song, we felt your life. Every struggle, every hope, every dream, you shared it all with us." Another judge wiped away tears, holding a hand over their heart, saying simply, "Miguel, you've changed this room forever." The standing ovation continued as Miguel's shoulders shook, overcome by the overwhelming support and love radiating from the audience. Behind the scenes, camera crews captured every tear, every gasp, every look of awe. Miguel's parents, watching via live feed from their small apartment in Ireland, held each other tightly, crying in disbelief and pride. This moment, the culmination of years of hardship, poverty, and quiet determination, was theirs as much as his. Miguel bowed again, voice cracking as he whispered a heartfelt, "Thank you." His performance had not just entertained, it had transcended borders, language, and circumstance. He had reminded everyone that talent is not measured by wealth, appearance, or confidence, but by courage, heart, and authenticity. As the audience continued to cheer and the judges offered heartfelt hugs and praises, Miguel realized that this stage, these lights, and this moment were only the beginning. From the streets of Cebu City to the spotlight of Ireland, a poor boy with a shy voice had dared to dream, and that dream had just begun.